There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5. Evil Hippie Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out. Subscribe. Type in IE Newswire on all those deals, and you will find us anytime 24/7, 365. Of course, we will be joining the Mighty Met 1490 a.m. at the bottom of the hour, and hopefully we'll have Dr. Kelly into as we usually do on a Monday. Lots of stuff. Woman brought in for cremation was knocking on the coffin. We'll have that story in a second. B.S. Rob Bonta double talking his $500,000 in legal fees he spent, and he was a witness. Holy cow. Sheriff Chad says California elections are corrupt beyond repair. 500 turkeys were stolen in Lake Elsinore who were supposed to be given away. We'll have the story on that. San Bernardino detective who stopped the killer or alleged killer of Deputy Nunez was honored in a ceremony a couple of days ago. We'll take a look at that. Sex predators arrested in Harupa Valley. The judge threw out the case on Comey and James, but it's not the end of the story. Dr. Kelly and much, much more coming up. Want to get into the just remarkable story. How would you like to be in a coffin, ready to be sent to the cremation burner, and you're knocking on the coffin? There's the lady who was in the coffin. You see her in the truck. They did put her in the hospital. She was knocking on the coffin just before they were getting ready to put her in the incinerator. What a story. This did happen in Thailand. As they say, they got a lot of explaining to do. There you see the woman with her arms moving. And then they're questioning the guys at the cremation place, I guess, of man, what a bizarre story, man. That would be like almost your worst nightmare. You're alive and we're just getting ready to be barbecued on that. B.S. Rob Bonta. Great Ashley Zavala from KCRA3 got an interview from him. He's still claiming, ridiculously, he spent almost $500,000 on campaign funds when he was a witness in the Chang Tao Dong family Oakland corruption investigation, which he and his wife, Mia Bonta, who is an assemblywoman, maybe man, who knows, have been up to their eyeballs with this stuff. Yet he keeps claiming that he's a victim and he's innocent. If you're victim and innocent, why are you spending $500,000 saying he's helping out the Department of Justice investigation or whatever the hell? His story is absolutely unbelievable. Here's Rob Bonta being interviewed by the great reporter Ashley Zavala. Here we go.
So just to be clear, were you a witness? Were you a victim? Were you a possible subject, a target? What exactly were you in this case, if you can say?
I was 1000% not a target. I was a potential victim in their eyes. They thought I may be a victim. And I certainly, in the lay understanding, a witness who provided.
First off, he is a lawyer. He is Attorney General of the state of frickin' California. So you can give a legal opinion like we pay you to do every day. So first, lay story. No, you're a lawyer yourself. More from BS Bonta.
information that may be helpful to their investigation of other people. So I was someone that they thought might have information that could assist with their investigation of other people.
So you got information. There's a criminal, let's say like in River Valley where they busted the sex predators. Let's say there's a house that's using, teenage girls or boys for sex trafficking, whatever. And they come to you and they knock on your door. Hey, have you seen these people around? Have you seen any suspicious activity? You know what's going on over there? Yada, yada, yada. You say, well, yeah, no, maybe, whatever. You don't know hire a lawyer for that. You did nothing wrong. If you're a witness, witnesses are not, if you're not a target and you're not a witness, what the hell are you hiring $500,000? One of the biggest law firms, most expensive. You said $1,000 to $3,000 an hour you're getting billed for this. Here we go.
I was 1,000% not a target.
Okay, you told the LA Times that you were a victim at one point. Was that also the case?
Yeah, they thought I was potentially a victim. That was one of the first reasons that the federal government reached out to me, a victim of potential extortion or blackmail.
And so with that,
So that must be this alleged part that, in the tape, or there's a tape of him doing maybe untoward things or compromising positions. The allegations have come out. Okay, so they're not true. You tell them they're not true. You don't need $500,000 worth of lawyers to come with
you
you.
mentioned that you answered questions, you provided documents, but I mean, you spent nearly $500,000 of those campaign funds. Campaign finance records show that is a historic amount of money to spend. I mean, all that really cost that much?
Yes. The attorneys that I had were working.
Well, yeah, you spent that. What do you mean, yes? Explain again. Ashley's trying to ask him the question we're all asking. How in the hell does this happen? This makes absolutely zero sense in the context he's putting it.
Around the clock, to be responsive, to be efficient, to be comprehensive, to be completely forthcoming in all of our information that we were providing in an effort to assist and help the federal government. I will say I may have had an audible gasp when I saw the final legal bill, but these are attorneys that charge at not insignificant rates.
Audible guess. You know exactly what these guys are charging. You deal with this every day. That's your profession. Attorney, you got a JD by your name. You don't gasp. You know they've been gouging people for decades with this crap of attorney fees, and that's a story for a different day. But you're providing documents? Why the hell do you need attorneys at $3,000 an hour to provide documents for? Here's the freaking documents, DOJ, do your thing. It's about as simple as that.
And they were working many hours to make sure that we were providing all the information, all the documents, everything that the federal government sought in our effort to be helpful and to assist them.
How much did they charge? And I mean, when did, I guess maybe what could be helpful in understanding this amount of money is, when did they start this work for you?
It all happened pretty quickly in sort of the late summer and early fall of 2024. So it was all compressed. And the billable rates, you can just look at any private law firm's website and see that there's rates at $1,000 an hour, $2,000 an hour, $3,000 an hour.
Is that how much you were paying though?
These are very high rates.
Mr. Attorney General, is that how much you were paying? $1,000, $2,000, $3,000?
There were ranges because there were different attorneys and it's based on experience and
listen to him double talk. It's ridiculous. Again, he provides zero explanation. And I mean, if this is the 1 in 22,000 billion lottery odds case or something, then explain what the hell is going on. Quit treating us like we're 2-year-olds and we're stupid. CC Woods, maybe we'll get into this tomorrow, has a new article up. Bonta's House of Cards. How casino cash flooded Mia's coffers, whispering sweet nothings to the AG's gaming gamut. Holy man, I think Bonta is in much deeper than he's trying to play off. Why did he say he's running for governor, then pulled out, said, I'm going to run for attorney general, now making noise that he's going to jump back in the governor's race? This stuff is absolutely, again, a 3-year-old would say, give me a break. We're not buying this for a second. Man, and we got much, much more to get to on today's show. It's absolutely, again, it's a jam-packed weekend. Yes, it is. As I fade to black. Oh, man, some of the technical stuff that goes on here. I am coming back, I believe. There we go. Bonta is such a twerp. I mean, again, he really thinks we're going to believe this in just on the off ridiculous chance. What he's saying is remotely true. It needs a hell of a lot more explanation than what this ding dong's given us.
Your role in the firm and every attorney charges at a different rate, but they were in the thousands of dollars range. Yes.
And did you have a lot of documents to provide? Again, I'm just trying to make sense of this number here.
Well, in today's age and day and age of technology and information, multiple devices, multiple computers and laptops, there is a lot of places where information is stored, and every one of us has a very significant data footprint, and so we wanted to make sure we look through everything, that we extracted data.
Yes. And it's amount of like, boom, here you go. You don't have to go through the file cabinets and look through all the stuff. Boom, files on this, files on that. Put them in an email or whatever. Here you go. DOJ, have at it. $500,000 in lawyer fees to do just normal, everyday filing work.
From every device in every place in every space, so that if we had a piece of the puzzle that could assist the federal government in their investigation of other people, then they would have it. And we didn't know, what their investigation entailed in all of its nuances. They knew. Our job was just to provide as much information as we could to them, so that they could, if anything was helpful, then they could use it in their investigation. But the large amount of data, the challenges of extracting data, getting it in a way that can be presented, reviewing it to make sure no one's private information is improperly disclosed, and making sure that everything is transparent and forthcoming and handed over. That took time. That took hours, and we wanted.
Holy bejesus. I mean, when you boil this thing down, it's unbelievable. This didn't take that much time. And you need $3,000 an hour to redact a name or an email address or something? Man, what a... And then you're spending campaign funds on it? Was this all related to the campaigns? Campaigns don't have that many documents. even a statewide campaign. It just, again, you would have to believe that you could hit the lottery and survive getting hit by lightning twice in one day to believe what he's trying to sell us. It's flat beyond any sort of comprehension. Sheriff Chad was on with Laura Trump, Donald J's daughter-in-law, married to Eric. Anyway, Sheriff Chad is saying our elections in California are completely rigged. Let's go to the Fox News report.
Well, you talked about a lawsuit that you currently have underway. California Republicans are currently suing over Proposition 50. This is the new congressional map, and they're alleging that it's unconstitutional. So do you feel like the current political rules here are rigged for the Democrats?
Yeah, it's completely rigged. It is our election process has been rigged to keep the Democrat Party in power, honestly, since the 60s. And every 20 years, people get so fed up with it, they elect a Republican governor. And that's where we are right now. The gerrymandering districting, really for me being at the head of law enforcement, the leader of law enforcement, the Constitution and the constitutional rights of Californians actually matter. And our
First off, we ran through this, Thursday or Friday. We know that elections are rigged, they're cheating, whatever. You have the strategy. Sheriff Chad, I sent it to him personally. So you have the strategy where we can elect a center-right governor in California, whether that be Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton. We got to get those two in. The way there's Democrats are shaping the field, this is a possibility. We gave you this example. Gave Sheriff Chad the example, again with Steve Hilton, of District 4, 2022, how the rats took over a Republican 20 plus 20 registration seat by doing the same strategy. You got to, when you know you're going into a rigged deal, then you got to figure out a way to do it. By the way, those of you who've listened to this show know California has never had better. Republicans have never been anywhere but -10 in the whole state of California. That was in the 2000s when we had a 50-50 legislation. We went back 60 years. Democrats have had a 10 to 20 point lead all the way through. Yet we've had, up until the 2000, we basically, give or take a couple seats, 3 or 4 seats, we had a pretty 50-50 legislature, assembly, and Senate. We probably had more Republican governors than Democrat. I mean, you could say from Reagan, Digmazian, Wilson, Arnold, then you could go Jerry, Gray, and Newsom. So, in terms of numbers, and probably the terms are probably about split even, we've been, up until 2000, California was a pretty even state. Just take the way they elected people. Now, since we have a 75% supermajority, and I agree, there's been a lot of crap going on, but so you are the underdog. Your team does not have the personnel and the ability of the team you're playing against. So you got to work smarter, harder, craftier. They're setting this thing up for us to do a California District 4 statewide in the governor's race. I hope Bonta gets back in the governor's race. The more Democrats we have in the race, the better off we are. We need to cap it at where we're at. Chad and Steve Hilton. Split the vote, split that 40%, 20 or so, and then hold every other Democrat under 20%. And in November 26th, your choice is going to be Steve Hilton or Chad Bianco, and may the best man win. That's how you start to do this. You start to run the strategy. They showed us how to do it. They executed. Are the center-right freedom liberty types smart enough to do it? We're going to find out in California. See if Sheriff Chad and Steve Hilton want to win, or are they on an ego trip? Because it's going to take, or come up with a better strategy than I do, or the Democrats. I'm just copying the Democrats. I'm just copying what's works. How you do this. Get on the national front. Melissa Ann Murray put this post up, which is true, and will run the Harry Anton polling. Trump's approval among Republicans, 87% in his second term. Obama and Bush at this time were 10 points, 11 points, 9 points below him. Trump does not, the base Republican Party is with Trump. Still with Trump, no problem. Where Trump is losing it is the under 40 vote, the center left, and the freedom and liberty types that he consistently keeps crapping on. And I don't understand why he's doing it. Let's run a little bit of the Harry Anton CNN, how he's holding on to his base. He's doing a marvelous job of that. Good job. Kudos, all that stuff.
So is the president losing Republicans?
No. Look, this is still Donald Trump's Republican Party, and we can see it here. It's like a rock, to quote Bob Seger. I mean, take a look here. Republicans who approve of Trump. 6 months ago, it was 87%. Now, well, hello, it's the same number. It's 87%. He has not lost any support among Republicans compared to 6 months ago. As I said at the beginning, he's like a rock. He's like a rock. The Republican base is sticking by Donald Trump at this point in time.
It really is interesting to watch his overall approval rating go down, 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 but see this be completely constant here.
It is among independents. It is not among Republicans.
Okay, so how does this compare to past presidents in a second term?
Yeah, okay. I think this gives the game away, right? Which is Donald Trump, if you look at 21st century presidents' own party approval at this point in term two, who leads the pack? It's Donald John Trump. 87% of Republicans approve of Donald John Trump. You go back to 2013, 78% of Democrats supported Barack Obama, and it was 78% of Republicans who supported George W. Bush back in 2005 at this point. So Donald Trump has the biggest own party, highest own party approval of any president who served their entire second term in the.
So that's fine and dandy. Great. The base Republican, 40% vote with him. That's not where elections are won, because you got 40% on the other side that are countering that. Elections are won in that 20% in the middle that's going to decide this. They decided 2024. They decided 2020. They'll decide 2022. They'll decide 2026. Trump was again today ripping on Rand Paul and Tom Massey. He's already pissed off the under 45 crowd. They're shifting. Hispanics are shifting. They shifted a lot towards Trump, 2024. Now they're shifting away. The freedom and liberty types are pissed off because he just cannot stop going after Rand Paul and Thomas Massey because they're not mind numb robots and they don't do that. And on top of that, they're winding up or trying to piss off other Republicans. They have reported, there's been multiple reports coming out after the Marjorie Taylor Greene might not be the first Republican or the only one that's not going to quit before 26 because of the way the Trump administration has been just browbeating all of them to death. So they need to come up with a solution. They need to start working on lowering prices for the average American. They need to get Doge back. When Doge was coming in with Elon, not bury it. Everybody that supported Trump was happier than a clam, and even some that didn't. Get back on with things that are working. Be running off doing all this other BS baloney. Take care of the fundamentals first. Why keep up with the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing? She's out. Whether you're good, bad, or indifferent, and not even arguing who was right or wrong or whatever, she's gone. End of story. Put it away. And then on top of that, you keep up with this, I'm going to smash mouth Rand Paul and Tom Massey and the crew. You just lost another 10% of your hardcore supporters that are not Republican. They're not part of that base that Harry Enton's talking about. Get rid of these double agents. Cash and Dan, Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, Swampy Susie. They all need to be gone by the first of the year. Start 26 off with a clean slate. And anybody else that's screwing around. This stuff ain't rocket science. Before everybody gets all bent out of shape, yeah, the judge threw out the Comey, Letitia James cases, but he did it with prejudice. So my understanding, Pam Bondi can re-indict it back in. So just get it right. Well, get Pam Bondi and Blanche out, get somebody in there that's competent, knows how to do this stuff. Or are they trying to sabotage this thing or whatever? Don't know. We're aiming to find out. This one's a great story. San Bernardino Sheriff's detective honored for heroic freeway takedown of suspect in the killing of a deputy. The detective who used his car to stop a fleeing suspect accused of killing sheriff's deputy in Rancho Cucamonga, Andrew Nunez, has been honored for his actions with two commendations at the California Narcotic Officers Association ceremony, October 27th in Purdue. San Bernardino County Detective Sean Wallen stopped the suspect. He's the guy that swerved his car in front of the dude in the motorcycle. Again, that dude's hit some lottery numbers surviving that one during the high-speed chase on the 210 freeway. Whalen, who was off duty at the time, used his vehicle to swerve in front of him of that. So, and there's Sean up there accepting the award, wearing his hillbilly cowboy hat. and plain old coat, which shows that he's an absolutely awesome dude. Thank you, Sheriff's Detective of San Bernardino County, Sean, for ending that, because he was pulling out his pistoli and getting ready to shoot again at the officers. Who knows how many more, or officers, deputies, CHP, or innocent people driving down the freeway than that case would have killed. So that's good news on that front. The other ridiculous story, they stole 500 turkeys, for crying out loud, in Lake Elsinore, that they were going to give away. To those who need, those who are needy. Some of the stuff we do here is just absolutely stunningly ridiculous. Here's the ABC7 report.
Local nonprofit The Spirit already taking a hit.
A truck carrying nearly 500 turkeys meant for a Lake Elsinore grab-and-go food distribution and turkey giveaway was stolen yesterday. This video shows previous events held by the You Are Important Foundation, which planned to hand out those turkeys. The organization's director says the team stepped away from the truck for a quick break. When they returned, the truck was gone.
We got some real winners out there stealing turkeys that were meant for people in need. Just makes your skin want to crawl at times of some of the people we've got. Marupa Valley cops busted sex predators and parolees. A good job for that.
30 seconds, Roy.
On that. And
no Dr. Kelly yet.
And more on that bizarre case where that Lake Elsinore teen was found dead in the car from the singers, and there's another suspect, and they can't figure out how she died because her body was partially frozen. What a bizarre story.
All right, here we go, 10 seconds.
For those who support America, patriotswitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5 on the Evil FB Network, Rumble X, YouTube. Check us out. Subscribe. Type in iNewsWire on Rumble to get all that great information on that. Man, lots of it. How'd you like to be in a casket alive? They're getting ready to shove you in the incinerator, and you're beating on the casket. That happened to a Thailand woman. Kid you not, we ran the story earlier of that. She was alive. B.S. Rob Bonta and his 500 grand. It's attorney's fees on that, and the explanation he gave to Ashley Zavala was absolutely ridiculous. If you don't have anything intelligent to say nothing. Don't try to run it. Don't try to treat us like we're 2-year-olds and come up with that. Sheriff Chad said California elections are completely rigged. Well, he's probably got a lot of evidence to back that up. We have given him the plan. We'll give it to Steve Hilton. If he wants to win, first you got to win. First you got to come up with a strategy to beat the team that's got better players, more of them than you do. We gave it to him. Chad's got it. I sent it to him personally. It's something else. Trump's holding on to his base, the Republican base, but he's pissing off the younger folks, the center left, the freedom and liberty types that he's done that. He needs to knock it off. It's amazing, some of the things that we go to. Sheriff's Deputy Sean Whalen, who was the guy that swerved in front of that clown that was on the motorcycle, allegedly shot Andrew Nunez, the deputy who was killed. He was honored for his heroic freeway takedown of the dude when he swerved his car into that, and that went south. So
I got Dr. Kelly.
You got it. And that was, man, who knows? Because that dude on the bike was getting ready to pull out, was reaching for his pistole to start again. So great job, Sean Wallen, stopping that on the freeway. As we usually do on a Monday, we have, as I've determined her, the supreme physician and all the world expert on COVID-19 and just about everything else, Dr. Kelly Victory. Welcome to IE Newswire with Roy.
Hey, always good to be with you, and happy Thanksgiving week.
Man, oh man, I want to start out with this one, and I didn't necessarily see this one coming off the bat, but Texas is going to hear in another week or so. Ivermectin is going to be an over-the-counter drug like it is in practically everywhere else in the world. The horse medicine that was going to kill, if you took that, you were going to die, wouldn't get rid of COVID or anything else. Now it will be, if you're in Texas, you will be able to walk into the old Rexall drugstore and whatever, $3 or $5 or $10 and walk out with 100 pills. Dr. Kelly.
Yes, there are 4 states that have already made it over the counter, Tennessee, Idaho, Louisiana, and Arkansas. 9 more about to do it, including Texas and North Carolina. This is long overdue. As you rightly point out, Roy, ivermectin is over the counter in almost every other country, with the exception of the United States until very recently, and Canada. There are hundreds of millions of people take it every single year, way before COVID, and it's one of the safest drugs, frankly, on the market. So the idea that they are finally allowing Americans to avail themselves of this very safe, multi-purpose drug, FDA approved for humans back in the 1980s, by the way, despite what the CDC wanted you to believe during COVID, it is not, quote, horse paste. It is a FDA-approved medication for use in humans. And as I said, it's a remarkably good antiviral. It's an anti-inflammatory. We are finding out now that it has profoundly positive impact on multiple different cancers. So this is indeed great news, and hopefully the other states will fall in line shortly.
I know all of us who were saying, hey, what's the big deal on that? And like you said, we got plastered with it's horse medicine and all this other crap. Now all of a sudden, I don't hear any of those yo-hos that were doing this, and this is going to come with the next one we're going to talk about. None of the yo-hos that were talking about this horse medicine, Trump's going to kill us all because he's recommending that, and then they're saying Trump told you to take bleach and all that, which was totally 1,111% false and everything else. Now that it's coming out that you can buy it over the counter, as you should have been able to do back in the COVID days, I haven't heard one of them apologize, say we were wrong, or anything else, Dr. Kelly.
No, absolutely. None of them have come back and apologized. And I've said from the beginning, in my mind, there is no moving forward from this without contrition. I personally was, persecuted. I had to go 7 times in front of the medical boards in Colorado and Ohio and North Carolina to defend the statements I was making about things like ivermectin. And it's not like I've gotten a letter saying, oh, sorry about that. Now we've made it over the counter because we all acknowledge that it actually works. So I'm not holding my breath. I'm just simply going to have to, like a lot of, the other people who were proposing this and speaking out about it, we're simply going to have to sort of have some satisfaction in the vindication that we were right.
The second one, and this is the same thing, Bobby Kennedy at CDC finally is turning the tables on the whole vaccine autism thing. And of course, the nutcases that say there's absolutely no evidence, no nothing. Kennedy and the crew and Dr. Kelly and everybody doesn't know what they're talking about, yada, 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 just having a hissy fit. And again, all's we're doing is saying, hey, let's look at least from my perspective, all's Bobby Kennedy is saying, and all he's ever said is, we need to spend some more time looking at that. If it isn't the vaccines or the mercury or whatever, tell us what it is to fix it, Dr. Kelly.
Absolutely, and I have to say, and this is what empowers me or motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing, because it really was the study that was published by my friend and colleague, Dr. Peter McCullough, and the McCullough Foundation that caused Bobby Kennedy to be able to convince the CDC to change their stance on the issue of vaccines and autism. As you know, I and others have been suggesting that there is a causation between vaccines and autism, and it was no. We were ridiculed, derided, censored, canceled, you name it. But the McCullough Foundation put out a study 3.5 weeks ago now where they reviewed 300 peer-reviewed studies and came to the conclusion that the one common factor, although autism is multifactorial and there are other things that can and do cause it, that the one modifiable risk factor for developing autism was childhood vaccines. And finally, the CDC just posted last week, they have retracted and said outright, the statement that there is no relationship between vaccines and autism is not based in science. The studies haven't been done adequately, and we can no longer say that. This is a huge move, Roy. It is huge. After all of these decades, the CDC has finally acknowledged what others of us have been saying for decades, which is, not so fast, bucko. The studies haven't been done, and the studies that have been done do point to a likely relationship between childhood vaccines and risk of developing autism.
And the next thing Mr. Kennedy said about the World Economic Forum may be even bigger than that. Let's play this short clip. Here we go.
Where do you stand on the WEF, the World Economic Forum?
It is like, we shouldn't be paying any attention. It's a billionaires' boys club as arranging the world to shift wealth upward and to clamp down totalitarian controls on everybody else. And now they got the capacity to do it. They got all these countries running around doing
it. There's a whole, even if with all this other stuff, he's 1,000% right on the World Economic Forum, these establishment oligarch types that are been screwing us, everyone, from the ivermectin deal to the vaccines to the COVID con, and not to mention all the financial shenanigans and wars for money and everything else. Bobby Jr., in my view, is 111% right on this, Dr. Kelly.
There's no question. The World Economic Forum, frankly, is the cabal. They are the ones responsible for so much of what has happened with, the Great Reset. Not only things that happened around COVID, but things that have happened regarding climate change and all of the other things that are intended for nothing else other than for them to gain control. They want to control where you live, what you eat. They're the same people pushing that we all eat bugs instead of beef, that we have electric cars or no car at all, that we live in a 15-minute city where we don't have to travel, further than that to get everything we need, because don't you know, they know better. These are the same people saying that you will own nothing and you will be happy. This is the Klaus Schwab cartel. And Bobby's absolutely right about it. And unless people really wake up and understand that this is not hyperbole, these people do not have your best interest in mind. And they are embedded in every single different branch of government. They are embedded in your local governments. They're embedded in the school system. They're embedded in Washington. And we have got to recognize who these players are that have ties to the WEF, because they do not have your best interest in mind.
The other one we have on the hit parade is Rand Paul talking about COVID, or Bobby Jr. and Fauci. Here we go.
Any agency that funded the gain of function research in Wuhan or in the United States or anywhere in the world now denies that the research was gain of function. And they fight tenaciously to keep any record that they funded this dangerous research from the public eye. So fierce is their will that they have refused to divulge records even when I've enlisted 25 fellow senators to sign the records request. It's only now that Robert F. Kennedy is in charge of the HHS that we're finally getting to the bottom of this. And we can all thank Bobby Kennedy for keeping his word and revealing these records.
If we start, I think once and if this continues, it's going to be a bigger story than a lot of this stuff and a lot of this bickering, because the documents, Rand has said it, he's tried to get him as a senator, he couldn't pry them out of them. Bobby Jr.'s rolling them out. Hopefully they'll do, if he gets more of this stuff out, I think a lot of people's rear ends are going to be puckering, but what say you, Dr. Kelly?
I sure hope so. I mean, I've been saying from the beginning, look, Fauci perjured himself more than once in front of Congress. He denied participating in gain of function. He denied that it was even gain of function going on, let alone that U.S. taxpayer dollars were used to fund it. It's been a big lie, so many lies. And Bobby, although people are constantly critical of him, that he's not doing things fast enough, why are the shots still on the market? Why haven't we done this and that and the other thing? If he can make any movement towards exposing the fraud, corruption, graft, and dishonesty that's been going on for decades, then that is a huge thing. And I do believe that ultimately some of these documents will be brought to light, whether or not Anthony Fauci faces criminal charges or is charged with crimes against humanity, which he absolutely should be. I can't say whether that will happen. But hopefully people have wakened up and started to understand that they have been lied to, and lied to for many, many years. This predates COVID. This goes back to HIV and the lies that were told during that debacle. And who was at the helm during that? Anthony Fauci. And so Bobby Kennedy Jr. has done a tremendous amount to expose this. Rand Paul is still on the warpath, and I believe between the two of them, we may well get some people brought to justice.
So let's turn it a little bit more and broaden the scope a little bit for the whole scene. 3 things I think Trump needs to do. He needs to get off of Tom Massey's and Rand Paul's case, because they're the two that have been leading this whole thing on the documents on COVID and the gain of function and all that. You're just teeing off about 10% the freedom liberty types that supported you and got you elected. And of that, people will do that. On top of that, don't kill Doge, bring it back. That was the height of your popularity. When Musk was putting on X 27,000 posts a day and we're cutting this and we're finding the fraud, and even people that didn't vote for Trump were saying, yeah, let's go get him. Get that back in place, start getting through the fraud, waste, and abuse and stuff, and just totally, not only that, the totally unnecessary spending that's been going on. And 2 of your biggest champions in both houses will be Rand Paul and Tom Massey. So, and get rid of Bondi and Blanche, Cash and Bongino, and Swampy Susie by the first of the year, and start off with this slate with some fresh people in there, turn Tulsi loose and Robert Jr. on getting these documents out and releasing this stuff. Don't be hiding the Epstein files or nothing. Roll this stuff out there. I say, but pardon Assange and Snowden. Let's get everything out there on the table. I think you would see a renaissance come in, and I think you would see the center-right Republicans for 20 or 30 years have a majority on that if they would do this stuff. But what say you, Dr. Kelly?
From your lips to God's ears, Roy, I think you are spot on. I think, unfortunately, it's been disappointing to me. In the last 6 weeks, I've seen a little bit of a rerun of some of the Trump from his previous administration. These outbursts, this sort of, nitpicking and pissing off and infighting with the people who are really in his camp. As you said, Massey, Rand Paul, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. These are people who were on his side and are on his side. And pissing them off, infighting with them is the last thing he should be doing. I also agree with you that he needs to jettison Bondi and Patel and Bongino. They need to go away. I wish that Susie Wiles could be put on a spaceship and sent far, far away. I don't think that will happen, unfortunately, but I absolutely agree with you. If he did clear house and start with a new slate in January, allowing people like Rand Paul and Massey and, God knows, Bobby Kennedy Jr. to do their jobs, I think that you would see a resurgence of huge support for him. If he doesn't do it, I am afraid that we could get shellacked in the midterms, because what's happened in the last 6 weeks, this infighting isn't pretty, and I don't think there's anybody outside the Beltway who trusts Susie Wiles.
1,111% on that. Got a couple minutes left. Anything else our audience should know about that you want to get out there? Go.
No, I'm just watching with great interest at the continued open seat for the U.S. Surgeon General. As you know, I was on the very, very short list for that position, and I was honored to be so. I was very disappointed when Bobby Kennedy called me and said that they had chosen Casey Means instead. Yet here we are coming up on Thanksgiving. She has not sat for a confirmation hearing as yet. We were told that her first Senate hearing was postponed because she went into labor. Yet, interestingly, there hasn't been any announcement, it's been 3 weeks now, of a birth or anything else. So I'm a bit perplexed and a bit confused why we don't have a Surgeon General at the same time that MAHA and healthcare and issues around the nation's health are really top concerns for people. So watching cautiously and wondering what the heck is happening with that, and I encourage others to do the same. It's odd to me that we are almost coming to the end of Trump's first term in office, and we still have a key cabinet position, namely the U.S. Surgeon General, open.
It's never over till it's over, and you may still be stamped the supreme physician in all the world. Thanks for being on, Dr. Kelly. We'll do this again soon.
Thanks, Roy. Talk soon.
Dr. Kelly Victory saying it only as she can. And now you know, I don't think she's ever officially, maybe she has before, at least not at least publicly that I've seen. But there you go. She was on the short list to be Surgeon General of the United States, and maybe, they haven't made a pick yet, or they haven't confirmed yet. So, as Jesse Jackson said, keep hope alive. Some of the things you learn on this. I mean, I didn't say nothing about it because I hadn't heard that it was public knowledge or that that stuff was even being talked about or in the works. But hey, you heard it from the person that was there. So maybe if Casey Mears doesn't get confirmed, there's still a possibility Kelly Victory could be Surgeon General of the United States of America. We shall see. Trump could not make a better pick, in my view. And boy, it would be worth it just to see the heads explode. The entertainment factor alone would be well worth that part of it but we shall see. Lots of other stuff, and I mean, like I said, what a wild weekend going on. I didn't want to get. Maybe we'll do it a little bit tomorrow, the sedation thing, but again, that's just the rats. They play guerrilla warfare. They don't care about the laws or whatever. If they think they can win or drive wedges in between you, they will do anything. They will say anything to get or retain power because they understand one thing. And the most important thing in politics, winning. You cannot govern unless you win, or you are in the majority, or you can convince a majority to go along with your program. And they know how to play it. Trump needs to, and again, the court martial, Hexeth, get off your rear end. Put a court martial. You can tell the generals or the military courts or whatever. Let's put a court martial on Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona. He's a military guy. He's out there saying this, and it's dangerous. And the dangerous part of doing that. Now, if they had a specific violation that they thought Donald Trump or the military or somebody was giving out illegal orders, then that should be Pacific. And of course, the military, any military personnel does not and should not obey an illegal order. Nobody's questioning that. But if you start using this for political purposes or to undermine this or do that, undermine Trump's authority as commander-in-chief that he was duly elected to do, then you are flushing America down the toilet for your own political power and gain. And that's exactly one of the main reasons this country was formed, is to eliminate that kind of crap. Again, if you are saying that there's illegal orders going on, then bring Pacifics. Then we can debate it. We have no idea what you're talking about, Kelly, and the other 5 Smurfs that were going along with this, or yada, yada, yada. Even Martha Raddatz on 7 and the others, even the major players who would be on the side of, Mark Kelly and crew, were questioning this, saying, hey, this is BS. Hopefully we can get all the stuff together. You're not going to see much movement, because obviously Thanksgiving's coming up Thursday, and then Christmas and then New Year's. Then after that, then it's back to business. We're just going to slide sideways. I mean, hopefully we'll see how some of this stuff works out. But everyone needs to start getting in this back like we were at the beginning of the year. We all need to start getting in the boat and rowing in the same direction. Or else. Take it away, Sean.
All right, Roy. Well, take it easy. I will talk to you tomorrow.
You got it.